Welcome back to Amplified. My next guest has gone from perpetual outsider to consummate insider within the Democratic Party. Congressman Hakeem Jeffries got his start challenging the establishment, running twice against an entrenched incumbent before winning his third campaign for elected office. Today, he is the chief spokesman for the party and chair of the House Democratic Caucus. And many, including me, believe that he is on track to become the first Black Speaker of the House. Now, Democrats pride themselves on being a big tent of diversity, and in many ways, Jeffries embodies all that the party hopes to be. But in recent years, they've grappled with how to embrace those who challenge the status quo. Recently, I sat down with Congressman Jeffries to get his take on primary challengers and his guiding principles. You are being lauded right now as the next face, new face of the next wave of the Democratic Party for so many reasons. And because I have known you for years and know a bit more about you than just this immediate moment of the party dynamics, I am most inspired by your career and kind of the, you started from the bottom, now you're here, essentially, out of Crown Heights. So I wanted to start off today by just asking you, at a moment in your career, you actually decided to create a political club in Brooklyn for a reason. And I would love for you to just start off by telling us, kind of a little bit about why you got up and decided to create your own political club, what was happening, why.
Well, congratulations. It's so good to be on the show, and looking forward to amazing things for the community that will come out of the information that you transmit to your broad viewership. I came up, as you mentioned, in Crown Heights and grew up in the Cornerstone Baptist Church in Bedford-Stuyvesant, born in Brooklyn Hospital, and after graduating from law school, started to practice law, but after a few years of doing so, decided that I wanted to use the skills, the training that I had acquired in the art and science of the law to hopefully represent some of the people within the communities of Central Brooklyn that had given so much to me as I was coming of age. Initially, my first engagement in a substantial civic project was actually when several young lawyers who were living in Central Brooklyn, many of us who were raised in Central Brooklyn, formed an effort around the 2020 census to try to dramatically increase the participation in that effort, and we called it the Brooklyn Counts 2020 Census Campaign. And we engaged in an effort in trying to communicate on the ground to civic groups and churches and other organizations and individuals why Central Brooklyn had traditionally been amongst the most undercounted collection of communities in the nation, and why that was having an impact in a variety of adverse ways, including on the allocation of legislative districts, the allocation of resources that are based on population count in areas like transportation and education and healthcare, and in terms of social service delivery. So that was the foundation, the Brooklyn Counts 2020 Census Campaign.
Now, when did you decide you were going to run for state leg through all of this?
That was probably in the aftermath of the census campaign, encouraged by some folks who I had met. Census effort really began in 1999 and continued throughout the early part of 2000. Of course, at that point, census date was April 1st. And in the process of engaging in that effort, was encouraged by some folks to think about running for a seat in the state legislature, and looked at sort of the allocation of jurisdiction, actually, what the city council did, what the legislature did. And it became clear to me, though it wasn't immediately obvious, that within the legislature, you had jurisdiction over issues like the education of our children, affordable housing, criminal justice reform, and efforts even
But you
back
didn't
then.
win your first time, Congressman.
That's correct.
Which is also inspiring to me, too, is that you've run multiple times, essentially against an incumbent because you wanted to be the change that you knew needed to happen that wasn't already there, right?
Yeah. So I ran twice, both times, as you point out, Aisha, against an incumbent, and lost twice. Did reasonably well, but didn't get over the finish line. And so there I was after losing that second race, ran in 2000 and ran in 2002, where I was knocked down on the ground and had to kind of figure out what was going to happen from there. I realized at that point that a knockdown is different than a knockout. And a lot of folks, they were first starting out, had lost before they won.
Thank you for sharing kind of the piece about the census, because here we are again now, right? 2020 census numbers. What we know is that the demographics in this nation are shifting, and ultimately people of color are going to be the majority, which is why it's exciting to have you as a leader in the Democratic Party, perhaps our first black Speaker of the House, because we want to make sure, at least I think we should make sure, that our demographics and our power match up, right? I would love for you to say a little bit more, though, now that you are a leader in the party writ large, having come from an experience where you were actually an outsider who ran against the establishment a couple of times, knew that there was a better way, and then were able to get into leadership, show us a better way, and now kind of be paving the pathway for the future. I'm curious, you know, as you lead in the Democratic Party, what do you say to others who are maybe taking your path, but now that you're kind of a consummate insider, there's a whole lot to balance and manage there, right, within the party, and, you know, challenges and primaries and new people, new guard versus old guard. What do you say to people coming behind you that might be as inspired as you, taking a same path, pushing against the establishment and the grain to then become a part of the establishment? What do you say to them, and how do you reconcile that as a leader of the party?
It's a great question, and I think, one, that I encourage young people to run for something. To follow your passions, and if that's your interest, if you want to make a difference, it is important to follow that passion. Even if there's a sitting member of Congress or the legislature or the city council standing in your way. Based on the experience that I've had, I will never be the individual to discourage anybody from running a primary against anyone who currently may be there. I did that myself. And the House actually is an institution, as you know, that's anchored in renewal, right? That's why we have 2-year terms, not 4-year terms like the president, 6-year terms like the Senate, or life tenure like Supreme Court justices. So our institution is anchored in renewal. But at the same time, because of my leadership responsibilities, where I have relationships with people who I believe are doing the work, who are on the same team that I'm on, and who have partnered with me in a variety of different ways, including my efforts to try to strike a blow against mass incarceration through the First Step Act and other things that we've gotten over the finish line. I do feel a sense of responsibility to stand up for fellow members of the team. That doesn't mean that I object to anybody stepping into the arena. That should happen, because primaries are an important part of the democratic process. So it is a balance. And, you know, I, to the point about establishment framework, I remember I was on a panel, we were talking about legalization of marijuana. I've been working on that effort for a long period of time. This was a few years ago. And there were some activists who were on the panel. I was on the panel, some think tank leaders. And a young woman in the back said, I want to hear from the establishment guy. And I'm looking around, Aisha, trying to figure
That
out
was you?
what it's talking about. I want to hear from the establishment guy, that member of Congress. I almost had a midlife crisis at that point. Now I'm the establishment. But, you know, it's an honor to be in this leadership position. And I'm just going to try to continue to do the most for the people that I can with the opportunity that I have.
Well, thank you for that, and thank you for your service, and thank you for talking to me about it all today. We really appreciate you.